Our first question comes from Mark Rosenman with WLIE. Mark, if you want to unmute yourself.
Got it. Good morning, John. How are you?
Hi, Mark. Good, thanks.
So it's like another one of those full circle moments, I assume, for you. 77-78, John Gee Talbot had a similar decision that he had to make going into the playoffs. You were the younger goaltender, but assumed the number one role. He went with Wayne Thomas. Wayne Thomas, a little different, was 0-2 against Buffalo that year. I remember speaking to you and you said you understood that. But prior to that decision, I believe you told me that John Ferguson had called you into his office and explained. When this decision is made, do you think you're going to have a similar conversation with any of the goaltenders?
Yeah, I assume you're talking about who's going to be our starter in Game 1. We started today. We have a 2-week camp here. All three goalies were very sharp. In fact, our whole team was very sharp today. Quite exciting to watch. And this will be a coaching decision. It's going to be up to the coaches when they put their heads together and make that decision. One thing that's been apparent, and we're very bullish about it, is the idea of communication with everybody involved. So we'll continue, just like we did prior to the pause, and have upfront communication with all the goaltenders. It's exactly the same as with all the other players. Who's playing with who's dressing, who's not dressing, and it's the same with the goaltending. So I'm comfortable that we have 3 good goaltenders. You never know how many you're going to need in a situation like this. We're playing 5 games, and the possibility of 5 games in 8 nights. So our job right now is to get everybody ready.
Our next question comes from Dan Rosen with NHL.com. Dan, go ahead.
Hey, JD. I'm
Dan.
curious, have you gotten any word from the league regarding Brendan Lemieux's status, the suspension? Because I noticed today was skating it as an extra.
Yeah. No, we don't yet. They will let us know when the time comes. We've reached out. They said they will get to us and let us know. So we're just going to leave it at that. This is a very different, strange time regarding our sport. So we're going to, as a group, our team, adhere to what the league tells us. And we have asked. We haven't had the answer yet, so we'll see when the time comes.
We got another question here from Dan Rosen. Dan, go ahead.
Hey, JD. Bigger picture look. When the season paused, Mika was probably the hottest player. Well, he was the hottest player in the league. He was probably the best player in the league for that month and a half or so, or close to 2 months. I'm curious, from your perspective, was that Mika's advantage at taking his game to the next level, or was that just a good player on a hot streak?
Well, let me back up for just 1 second. I said that Tyler Wall, the goaltender, wasn't signed. He is signed. My apologies for that. Moving on to Mika, I think he hasn't hit a ceiling yet from what I saw. That was a player that, yes, got hot, but it was a player that sustained how hot he got, and he was great in every aspect of the game. The line combinations he's been with, the speed and moxie that he can play with, his shot, his passing skills. This guy, he could do anything. I mean, it was flat out amazing, in my opinion, as to how well he was playing prior to the pause. You wonder if a guy can step back in and be that hot to start this playing round. We certainly hope so. But boy, oh boy, I'd take 80% of that. That's how good he was. I think he's a player that is really comfortable on how he plays the game. He's a wonderful relationship with our head coach and the other coaches. He's a big part of this hockey club. He's developed himself and put himself right into that number 1 center position that he's as good as most in the game.
When you guys are mapping out the plan for this 2-week sped up training camp or whatever you want to call it, what do you see as the priorities to put your team in the best position to have success once the tournament does start?
I think for us, I'm first of all, I'm very proud of our group, not just the players, but the training staff, the doctors, everybody involved. We've been going at this. Here we have our camp opening today, but we've been going at this for 8 weeks, 10 weeks. We've had Zoom calls. We've talked about the virus itself and how you can protect yourself. The players and coaches and trainers and staff, everybody's paid attention to it. We've had Zoom calls amongst the players and the trainers all throughout this pause regarding their conditioning, what they were doing. Can we help you? Do you need a program? There was yoga. There was all kinds of different things. So it looks to me from what I saw today on the ice that everybody paid attention, and I'm proud of that. These guys are excited. They want to play. And now looking forward to when we drop the puck in Toronto, you obviously want to get through it healthy. You want to get through it, and you want to be careful with the soft tissue injuries, the groins, the hips, things like that. And that is a topic of discussion as we prepare for practices, when there's going to be a day off, things along those lines. As of a person involved with our hockey club, watching what I saw today, practice was over and the players didn't want to leave the ice. They stayed out there, it looked like for a good half hour, everybody messing around, taking shots, face-off work, all kinds of things. So our guys are excited. I feel strong about the way we played at the time of the pause, and after what I saw today and the knowledge that I have about how our people paid attention during the pause, I feel really good about things.
We have another question from Mark Rosenman here. Mark, go ahead.
JD, we know that professional athletes, the great ones, obviously are able to block out all the external pressures and distractions. This is something that no one has ever had to deal with. How, as a former athlete, how do you think you would be able to block out everything that's going on in the world and just focus not only on a season, but just a condensed season where everything immediately, the games count with such high pressure?
Well, it's certainly different. I mean, when I went outside today from the training center, then back in for the practice, I looked outside. It was a beautiful day, and I'm going, boy, it's pretty good for September 15th, because that's generally when training camps do start. But for me, it's an exciting time. I mean, I know that there's a lot of the unknown out there. I do know, again, and I'll say it again, how much work our training staff, our doctors, everybody put into the preparation for this. I know the preparation the Players Association and the NHL put into it. I think once we get to that bubble, it may be one of the safer places to be, just because of the testing and everything that's going on prior to getting there as a group. So I look at it strongly in that sense. Regarding the playing, and all of a sudden you're going to hit the ground running, it's going to be the unknown. It's going to be very interesting. Some scores can be very one-sided. Some games could go into double overtime. Well, nobody knows what's going to happen here. It's going to be wild, I think, and that part of it is exciting for me. Now, the other portion I would say as an ex-player is I played hockey. I was a hockey player. I loved the game. I know my wife would have booted me out of the house to go play the games. That's just it's in the blood. And again, the sense that I get from our group is they really want to play. Most of them are young players. They're excited about it, and it's a chance to win. How many chances do you get to go and know that if you win the best of 5, you're in the playoffs in this league? It's hard to get in the playoffs. So that whole thing is just exciting for me.
Next question comes from Leslie Treff of New York Sports Day. Leslie, go ahead.
Thank you, and thanks very much, JD, for doing this. With Lindy moving to New Jersey and Gord Murphy coming in to handle the D, how are you getting them up to speed to be ready for the tournament?
Thank you, Leslie. The coaches have been meeting now for quite some time. There's a conference room at the training center. They can all spread out, wear their masks, and go over all kinds of different things. And Gord has been here. Remember, Gord was in Hartford last winter with our farm club. He and Chris Knobloch did a great job there. And we felt with Lindy going to New Jersey, and we wish him all the luck on most nights. He's a terrific guy. I've known him a long time. It was a great opportunity for him, and we're not going to stand in his way. We did the right thing for Lindy, and we wish him all the best. And we thought that bringing Gord here would be the smartest thing because he knows our organization. He was here for camp, the whole thing. So we'll see how it all goes. We'll see how he works with the coaches. I think it'll be seamless. I've known him for a long time myself. He has lots of NHL experience. So I think it's a win-win. It's a win for Gord for sure to be here for this, and it's a win for Lindy to be able to go be a head coach in this league again, where he's had just a huge amount of success throughout his career.
Another question here from Dan Rosen. Dan, go ahead.
JD, a lot of this season before the pause, obviously we heard about you guys, taming expectations. It's a young team. It's still a rebuilding team. I'm curious, everyone now comes back and starts on an even playing field, basically, unless you're one of those 4 teams that have an automatic buy-in to the round of 16. Does that still apply? This is a young team. This is a team, that's rebuilding, or does expectations change now because of the situation?
Yeah. It's a good question, Dan. I think that process is process. And no matter what happens to our club, we're going to win. I mean, and we're playing a terrific hockey club, a game that'll be fast-paced. They throw pucks at the net. It's a good hockey club, Carolina. They have more playoff experience than we do. But this is what we're going to get into. This is why we wanted to be a part of this thing, is for our team. You can't go and pay for what we're going to go through. You have to go through it as a player, in particular the younger ones, to see the pressure, what it's about, what it's there'll be some differences. There won't be the crowds in the stands and all that type of stuff. But I think once everybody gets acclimated, it's just going to be a game that's going to be played very hard. And I'm thrilled for our group. I can't tell you how happy I am for our group to be able to be in this whole thing, to go through what we're going to go through, and then put that on our resume, and it's going to make us a lot better down the road. That's just how it works. Even playing field, I think that knowing how we played from after the game in Vancouver, prior to the game in Vancouver, after the game in Calgary, we as a group decided we're going to try to keep the puck out of the net a lot better than we had been doing. We lost in Vancouver the first game, and we played really well in that game. And then the rest of the way, for the most part, we played very well. And I think our group as a group had the understanding that you just can't go out and win an 8-6 game. You just don't do it. Keep the puck out of the net, have the skill that we have. We can get some scoring done, and we should be able to win some games. And it started to work. So I think because of that, and the diligence how diligent we were paying attention to how to play the game at both ends of the ice, we became a better team because of that. Coaches did a job, players bought in, and we started winning. Now going to the next step, I think that gives us some confidence for sure.